say how you doing today. I am your host, Lacey G. Soldier Turner, and today I have a special guest with me on the platform. Today we have Pastor Richard Jackson. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Okay, so before we get into what I want to ask you, where were you born and raised, and how was your upbringing as a child?
Well, I had multiple environmental experiences. I was born in St. Louis, and we were when I was almost 6. We had a fire on Fountain, and we went to the animal owners home. It wasn't a children's home. It wasn't an offering home. We went to the children's home in 1956 because our house caught on fire, and we were the first ones that they allowed who had parents basically to be there in that place. So we were that was an experience, and from there I went to a lot of other uh, environmental cultural experiences.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me ask you this: for anybody who's never been to St. Louis, because they see all the murder, they say we're a dangerous city. For people who scared to come here, what can you tell them about St. Louis?
Well, first of all, St. Louis is not as dangerous as they make it because they allow crime to be associated um, in the area of violence.
Right.
So that's all that they think crime is, and the reality is that that's not crime. It's a crime to not take care of your child. Um,
Right.
no, that's a crime. I mean, it really is. It's a crime. It's a crime to not feed your children properly. I'm talking about men. I'm not talking about women. So those doors right there they never go into them. They only talk about violence. St. Louis is no different than anyone else. Everyone has violence. Everyone in in a city has violence.
Right.
Violence is confronted. It does not. It's not prejudice. It confronts whatever they need to confront in the areas that they need to confront it. Not only in St. Louis, not only in America, but there are children who don't do anything or involved in a war right now over in Ukraine. That's violence, and we support it. Our country supports it. They send money over there, so you're supporting violence. So I don't know. I think it's a good place to be, and they're doing some things to make it better. And with all no disrespect to no other nationality, but white folks not gonna continue to be confronted like this and coming downtown. They're gonna do some stuff to make it be safe for them, and that's the bottom line. And if you flip the coin, and if we were in control and white people were doing drive-by shooting, we'd put a stop to that too. Those are just real facts. You ain't got to digest them. They real facts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Facts. Hey, you speaking the truth. So
Yeah. Just say it.
yes. So let me ask you this, Mr. Jackson. So I know you work tirelessly to support like the formerly incarcerated and their families during the times of the absence. So what made you wanted to get into doing that type of work?
Well, it's like Deion Sanders said today.
Mhm.
It's my purpose. I know my purpose. I know what God called me to do. And so when you know that, and it's not about giving back. I mean, we give back. It's what God told me to do. It is the area in which I work in. I don't try to do things that I know God hasn't told me to do. I may volunteer for you, but I'm not going to embrace your area of need over what I know. And so when God was telling me to get Manasseh ministry, I was in prison, and the word came out Manasseh. And so I went to find out what it was, located the definition of it. It means that it's a cause to forget. So God was he was basically telling, I forgot her name, in the Bible that I know you went through some struggles, and I know you've been disrespected. I know you haven't been loved right, but this son right here that you're about to have, Manasseh, I'm going to cause you to forget everything that you went to. So Manasseh is supposed to be about love and providing a safe space. Not that people's memories go and they don't remember that they got their eye knocked out by the person that they had a child for. No, he's not. God's not saying that. But he will put you in a position where you won't look like what you went through. And so I don't have anything to do with it. I just obeyed the orders from God, and God told me to do it, and I've been doing it, and that's it.
Okay.
It's
What
not
year?
a career I pursued like a basketball career.
What year was Manasseh created?
1991.
So how was it created? Did you got out of jail and was like, all right, I'm about to.
No, no, I started doing the paperwork while I was in jail. I
Mm,
walked around talking about it every day. I
mm,
did my last time I was incarcerated. That's what I did. That's what I talked about. There was nothing else to discuss. Well, yeah, I got the name when I was in prison. I went back on a probation violation and I worked Manasseh because I learned that people do not want you to have one a vision. They don't want you to be where you might upset the norm. You don't want that. And so when I would go places as I got out and started finding out what I needed to do, I there was very few people that helped me. Howard Sullivan, who I was just just a heck of a brother, helped me and showed me some things. But there was also some Jewish people that talked to me and told me what you needed to do. But I found out that St. Louis, they do not want you. If you were a formerly incarcerated person, they don't really, especially if you don't have a master degree, they really don't want to mess with you because you are going to upset the norm. And we don't need you to do that. We need you to be a good Negro slave and get the crumb to fall from the table and be satisfied with the master giving you that. I ain't that dude. I just ain't. And so when you talk about people are incarcerated, I found out that a lot of owners of their agencies had not been involved in this area. I was talking to an attorney, and we were talking about the gun laws, and she told me, "Well, you need to understand that those gun laws." That's not for everybody. I said, no, you need to understand that you end up being incarcerated, so you don't understand what that hope is. The mere fact that non-violent people can carry a gun, that's hope for them. It's not hope for you because you ain't been in prison. If you've been locked up, it was for 10 minutes. You don't know what that's. You ain't been locked up. So God began to piece things to me when I was married. The children's uniform program that was birthed out of my daughter. She went to school one day, and no, I was taking her to school, and I saw these children. The principal was putting she wasn't the principal, she was the administrator. I come to find out that she was putting the person on the side. And I said, why are they over there? Because they're not in compliance, sir. I said, what is compliance? What do you mean? They're not in compliance. I said they got on a white shirt, they got on blue outfit. What? That's not the code. They must have. I said, what you mean they must? I don't want. Help me to understand. I just don't know why are you putting them in that position. Now parents got to come up here. I don't make the rules, sir. I said, then she talking about Lord. I said, Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this. This is Jesus ain't even so far away from this. It's pitiful. He everywhere, but he done missed over here. He ain't over here. He left over here. It's confusion over here. So that's how the uniform school program started. And then the new clothing program, my son's feet was getting too big. So I called Nike. These are true stories. I called Nike the same year that Larry Hughes was at St. Louis U. I said, you better get down here. This man getting ready to go pro. I'm telling you, you might want to get up on him and get him a contract. So they wasn't paying me no attention. I told them what I needed. They sent me a box. They sent me about 4 or 5 boxes, literally, of tennis shoes, sweatshirt, sweatpants. And my son started wearing and one. I think he's probably the first one in the school to wear and one because his feet was growing.
Yeah.
Then we started getting clothes from Ann Taylor, Mark Shell. We started getting clothes from Timberland. So my wife at the time said, I'm not going back. I'm not going to prison. I said, what are you talking about? Because you stealing. I said, no, I'm not stealing. I have receipts for this. No, you still stealing. I said, okay, well, believe what you want to believe. But every box that we got, she went in it. She went in it. She got what she wanted. She went in it. So it got to the point where my wife was like, oh, okay, this Negro ain't stealing. God just blessing me. Because she was the first one that would get
So,
to it. So,
name one thing. What are some other services that you offer?
okay, we also offer, well, I learned how to do gang outreach through Naeem Muhammad, Kabir Muhammad, and I can't think his name now. DeAndre Harris Bay. Ahmed. I don't know if you know him, but those are the persons that helped me with that. So we offer the services that we offer. We advocate for individuals who are incarcerated. You can find me protesting. And most of the time, we ain't got a dog in that race. I didn't have a dog in the race when Michael Brown's when Michael Brown was killed. It wasn't my son. Wasn't no benefit to me at all. But it was the fact that it was wrong. On day one, Manasseh was out there. I mean, literally day one. That Saturday, when the protest started on that Sunday, we were out there. We do that. We advocate. That means we go to Jeff City. We talk to legislators. They know my name. Some of them hate to see me coming because I'm loud. And I be telling them, okay, well, what you didn't say that when I was voting for you. I want to hear all that stuff. Hey, I need to talk with you. Come on, give me 5 minutes. Don't you see I'm in a meeting? I don't see you doing nothing but talking. I need to talk with you. So they don't really like me. Now I can be civil. I know how to be classy, but you only employ that when it's necessary. When you're dealing with folk that you dealing with, you don't do all that. You don't go around talking about, hey brother, and y'all grew up together. Or you don't speak to you don't speak to nobody like that. So that's the one. Then we also have we give out scholarships, which we'll be giving out November the 5th for children in grade school who have parents incarcerated. Now, there is another organization that does give out scholarships, but she wasn't the first one, and it's been started by it wasn't started by a formerly incarcerated person. We give scholarships to children who are in grade school, and we try to let them know God cares about you. And sometimes, and this was birth, this has nothing to do with me. God told me to do this when we first started the program called X-Man, which that is a program about, it's not a program, it's an event where you honor people who have been incarcerated and are doing well right now, who are doing good. One of the persons that we tried to honor, and I won't say their name because it's just not professional, but they was a state rep and their father did go to prison. And we tried to honor them. And you know their name if I said their name. And that person told me, she said, well, we thought about it and we moved past it. I said, is your father dead? I said, she said, no, my father ain't dead. I said, well, you ain't moved past it then. I said, well, it's okay. You don't want us to give you you don't want to give you war. At the end of the day, they got his penitentiary number. He been to the penitentiary. That's what we just wanted to honor him because he's doing good work. Well, we also do some mentoring. We going back to mentoring. So we also visit people in prison from prison ministry perspective. And then on the other side is called reentry, where we go in and talk to men about and women about healthy relationships. We talk about the psyche of what you need to look at. When I have a chance, I also incorporate the necessity of you understanding what your nationality really is and how you need to be free from some of this mess that they done poured on you and you haven't even thought about not one time. Don't you know that if I want to keep you in bondage, I'm going to make the God you serve look like that God? So as long and if you keep looking at that God, you're going to not hate me. So if I'm beating you up and I'm Chinese and the God look like Chinese, you're going to continue to love me because you can't hate God. Don't you know that that's crazy? Don't you know that that's bondage? So yeah, we talk about those things as well. Let's see what else. What else do we do? We have I told you about the marriage program. We also where we do outreach. So that might be anything. And then Manasseh collaborates with persons. If you're giving out food, we might go and assist you with that. Like we just helped the family for the past 4 weeks. Had 6 children. Didn't have a ride. I didn't want to do it. And be honest, I just didn't. But I had to because I don't want nobody to think I'm in line looking for some food because I'm a vegan. I don't need to do that. But that wasn't the point. God don't care about that. God don't care about your image. God care about you getting the work done, and that's what and that's how you get blessed. So we did that. We from time to time we do workshops, but mostly we deal with healthy relationships and we talk to families, mostly the women. We try to get the women to understand when we talk to them that hey, he got 25 years. You got 2 children by him. He got 25 years for murder. He got 25 years for selling drugs. There might be some money hid somewhere. 25 years. You're not married to him. He's not coming out.
Facts.
Because he pled guilty.
Right.
So it's gonna be a long time for a brother man come out unless they overturn the whole criminal justice system. Then they let everybody, it's gonna be a problem. So you might want to look at how you love yourself. What are you waiting on? You just have to tell him that. I can't wait for you because I know if I was locked up in the Justice Center for 2 hours, you would probably be trying to go in your phone and get with some sister like, I don't know when she coming back, but I told you if she ever leave me, I'll be with you, baby. So I know you'll be doing that. So you got to look at yourself and love yourself, and you also got to quit trying to make your children love you so that you do everything that you can. You don't take care of yourself. You need mental health is great. You need to do that for yourself, not mental illness. You need to know how to take care of you and be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
If you see a pair of shoes that cost you $300, you've been working hard. Get the shoes that cost you $300. No,
Right.
your mama may say you shouldn't do that. You work for it. You
Exactly.
work. You mean tell me all you do is work for nobody but your children? That's crazy. That's retarded. I know you got to take care of them. Goodness. So we talk to women about that. We want them to understand. If you wear weeds, which I don't like, but that's what you wear, I wouldn't tell them that. But if that's what you like, fine. But keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
And why would you have to have your hair all the way down to the ground? I mean, if somebody, you gonna throw your hair out the window, somebody climbing through your window now, I'm just asking you a question. It's not
Right.
making much sense here. It's just not making no sense at all. And you can't really wash it, not for real. I mean, because I don't know how you wash it, but however. And then we talk about uh, do you, when we talk to the women, we ask them, do you understand that having your child stay after school for tutoring is not, that's not an insult? That takes pressure off of you.
Right.
They're failing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time. Your family don't have time. And if they did, they have a right to say no. Get the tutoring.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stayed at 7 o'clock, but they're gonna give them something. Get the
Mm-hmm.
tutoring. Get your children help, bruh. If you can be over there telling me about what LeBron James weight is, how come you can't be over there with your son game? How come
Right.
you can't find some money to pay for the uniform? I don't want to, man. I ain't studying that. So we talk to men about that. What you mean you ain't studying? You were studying. You were studying about 8 years ago. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you was all on it, wasn't it? Now
Yeah.
it's turned into a debt, and that's why you look at your child as a debt when it's your child, and he gonna look and reflect you at some point. Might be great. You can't contribute to that because you didn't do nothing. He might not be nothing. And since you didn't do nothing, you can't contribute to that because you didn't do nothing. But if you done something, if you do something with your son, with your child, with your children, and
Mm-hmm.
we talk about being a provider,
Yeah.
what God intended for you to do. God made us be providers. That's why men give women money. That's
Right.
why men have a problem with certain things in the house because we providing this stuff. She running, she running, but she don't just, every time you come home, you got gifts. No, let me talk to you, baby, after everybody leave. Let me, cause she over here every day and she be eating at the kitchen table. Do that Negro work. That's all I want.
And then look out for the say too. A lot of people don't understand too. Like if somebody goes to jail, that person is not the only one doing the time. Like the families outside are doing that
They
time.
do. Now, some of them are. Some
Mm,
of them are, and some of them are not. That you would think that they are because they are tied to them. Some people cut themselves off families.
mm, wow.
Some folks just because you made them do that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you marry. Especially if you married, she might divorce you. And if when you come back, because dudes have this in their mind, I don't care who taking care of my child. Yeah, he better not be whooping him. Brother, you got 15 years. You don't see the parole board to 2039. He
Exactly.
whooping them. He whooping them because he feeding them.
Mm-hmm.
He whoop my child, I'm gonna kill him. What, you gonna break out and kill him and come back and be ready for count? No, brother, you can't do that. I send my people. So your people gonna hurt somebody for taking care of your disrespectful child that you couldn't provide nothing for.
Mm-hmm.
He's providing food and shelter, and he's mentoring your son, and your son got the audacity to say, "You ain't my daddy." He's not gonna keep taking that every day.
Facts.
You don't keep taking that every day.
Mm-hmm. Hey, real talk. So
Hell yeah,
let me ask you this, Pastor Jack.
yeah.
So on your journey, you've been doing this for a while now. What would you say has been your greatest challenge?
Well, my greatest challenge is really accepting the fact that he called me to do this and
Mm,
uh, not getting disappointed when you expect people that you would expect people to support you and they don't.
mm,
That's been a challenge for me. The rest of it is it's really not. It's a joy to help people, but that part, yeah, that part of not being supported when you support it, uh, yeah,
okay.
and accepting the fact that now God really called you. He wants
Mm,
you to do this. He called you. He spoke to you. He told you to do this. And the things that he's had me to say and do with people over the years that I just, I mean, okay, God, it's what you want me to say. Yeah, it's what you want me to do. So just knowing I'm hearing from him, knowing that I'm in his will, realizing that I'm human and I make mistakes and I do the mistakes on purpose sometimes because I don't know how people live their life. They like, well, we all human. No, some mistakes are not mistakes. They're real strategic plans that do wrong
mm.
to be up in Motel 6. So stop acting like, well, I love the Lord. Yeah, yeah, and you love who you're with. So stop
Yeah.
playing. So realizing that I'm not in nowhere perfect, that I do have these thoughts.
Mm,
They run across your mind, and just obeying him. So I guess that's really about it for
okay.
challenging for me.
All right.
Oh no, that's not it. Thank you, Lord. When you're raising a family
Mhm,
and it's extended, and you marry a woman and you all have a child, and those children in that outside, uh, the challenging part is trying to love people that
mm,
don't love you,
that's deep. Kind of love
caring
people.
for
Don't
people
love you. Ooh, that's deep.
that really don't care for you, need you, need you.
But
And
don't.
when they need you, they let that be known, but really don't care for you at all.
Mm,
Don't care.
I like that.
And that
So
was hard.
yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Hard to not be bitter and be revengeful.
Mm,
Hard to uh, just say what you really want to say when you see them because they don't treat you like you treat them.
mm,
Realizing that they got two different daddies and then neither one of them by mistake has done more for them. No, but neither one of their fathers has done anything on purpose
mm,
that I've done for them by mistake. Nothing. So you got to accept that and be married to a woman and still try to stay married,
mm.
knowing God don't want you to get away. Yeah,
Okay.
that was a challenge for me every day.
Wow.
Stand, because if you leave, the children may fall. They may get messed up. If you
Mm,
ain't there to protect them, to be that voice, yeah, that was
okay.
challenging. And you all the time, you make folks laugh, but you crying.
Mm, that's deep.
Yes, I wasn't gonna go there, but
Hey, I'm
he
glad you
pushed the
did.
button.
Keep
Yeah,
it
he pushed
real.
the button.
Keep it real.
I
Okay.
I, I tried to.
All right. So, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment?
I really don't have great accomplishments. I don't. Every time I'm able to help somebody, and this is genuinely serious. Anytime I can help a family, a mother, a child, anytime, anywhere, any state, I mean, that's accomplishment for me. I don't do this for me. I do this. In this ministry. This is God using me. And I say this often. So where are we going today, God? What are we going to do today? Who are we going to help today, God?
Mm,
My life is open for interruptions. My life is open for a U-turn.
mm,
If I'm going this way and God, and then I'll hear the Lord say, no, go over there. Now, God don't say turn, make a U-turn. I didn't say that. But a U-turn is you're going in another direction, what you want to do, and the
mm,
voice speaks to you. So all of that, I could have been dead. I've been stabbed. I've been shot at. I've been beat up. People tried to rape me in jail more than once. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh, those joy of being able to serve God's people. Amen.
Right.
I mean, really, that's priceless for me.
I got you.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Jackson. What advice would you have for someone like if someone's loved one has got arrested, they have to do these years, and the person is like, I don't know if I can, sit here and be there and keep going up to this jail, sending money. Or what advice would you have to them if they want to support but they don't feel like they can do it?
Well, we talk. I think we kind of touched on this earlier. We talked to women about that. If he's not your husband, so you have to look at the fact that most men are not going to do what you're doing for them. That's a truth.
Mm,
That's a truth. You got 100 men, 91 will not do it.
mm,
No, they're not. Well, we'll say 75. 75 men are not going to bring their children up to the prison to see you put money on your books and try to live faithful. Not going to happen. Why? Because it's not in them. They haven't been taught to do that. They have been taught another kind of way. So when we talk to women, and we have other women that talk to women who've been incarcerated, you have to weigh it. Weigh it.
mm,
If my mental stability is predicated upon our children seeing their father going to see someone, okay, and that helps me, fine.
mm,
If I'm taking the children up there so he can shut his mouth and it's a problem for me, you might want to look at that. If we were not in any relationship and all of a sudden guilt is in his brains and he starts saying, at least you can bring the children up. After all, I did take you to get you 2 smoothies and that's all he got. That's all he got. You might want to look at that and ask yourself again, why am I doing this? Yes, you don't want to keep your children away from the father, but was he with them before he left?
mm,
Then you got to have this conversation with your children. I'm bringing you up here every now and then to see your father. I don't care nothing about him. We're not going to talk. He's here for you, and you're here to see him. That's it. We don't have a relationship. I'm in a relationship, and pray to God if you married, oh, that's going to be a problem. You
right.
have to have the aunts, uncles, or somebody like that take them up there because the average man not getting ready to let you do that because you cannot leave the children in the visiting room without supervision, and
Mhm.
supervision has to come from outside because them people up there, they're not getting ready to do that. They talk bad to the children, all like that. So my advice was for you to think about it. Yes, we know what God says. Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
But I'm saying you want to think about it. You want to weigh your options. When it comes to sending money, you got to look at your budget. Again, what was he doing before he got locked up? See, in my case, and I don't think I'm better than anybody, I was bringing some money in the house, plus I was married. So I was bringing money in the house. But I soon learned my wife couldn't do what I do.
Mhm.
So I had to come up with some schemes in prison. It wasn't no real hard scheme, it was simple. People like to have cards.
Mhm.
They love sending cards to people to get money. I
Right.
worked in the I worked in the chaplain's office. I would get the best cards. I didn't sell the cards. I just told people, and I know this deceitful and slick. I just said, well, a bag of Tang and some honey and 4 cans of them fish steaks, crackers. It'd be good. It'd be
Hey,
good.
hey, look, you was bartering. It was part of the barter system.
I had to take care of it. Then when we got on work release, I would send half my money home. But the women have to think about that. That's why we have a program called Women with Mates in Prison Fellowship, where we have women, as well as myself, talking to women about making healthy decisions. Don't get into a guilty complex because he did this for you. He paid this bill. I get that. I understand that. But you have to look at yourself. He's not paying any bills. He made a decision.
Mhm.
It wasn't like he just all of a sudden walked out of the house and said, well, I need to be locked up. This is
Right.
where I want to go. I want to go to the Justice Center via penitentiary. He didn't say that.
Right.
But his mind said, I'm going to do something, and the consequences was already on his mind. It could take me to jail, but I don't believe I'm going to get caught. Or
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get away with it. Or I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you got to love yourself.
Right.
Do you love yourself? And there are women that talk to them about that. My wife went through that. The reason why my wife stayed with me, I believe, had everything to do with the fact of our children.
Mm-hmm.
And people told her I wasn't going to be nothing. And she was wanting to prove them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying she didn't love me. We just was not supposed to be married. But given in that vein, sister stayed with me. She couldn't come every month. And I understood that. And I wasn't mad about it. She couldn't write every day. I understood that. She didn't send a lot of money. And I understood that too. I was okay with it. Because when I got on my own, I sent money to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I also tell people that there are people who know, young ladies, that you're dealing with someone incarcerated. Ask yourself this question: how many people walk up to you and put something in your hand? Say, I know you got them children to take care of. Here,
Mm-hmm.
take this. It's not happening often. It ain't happening in the church. It ain't happening in the masjid. It ain't happening in the temple. It's not a norm that happens. People just don't walk up to you and say, I know you going through this. Here, it can. I'll put it this way. It ain't the norm
Right.
because people trying to live their own life.
Mm-hmm.
So you trying to take care of somebody that really don't care about you, just want the goodies, and that's it. He
Right.
wants you to come bring the children up so he can feel on you. Wake up. You got to go 200 miles to get filled on. Wake up. Wow. You really are desperate.
Man, that's crazy. So look, Mr. Jackson, let me ask you this: do you have anything coming up that you want to promote?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that, sir. On November 5th, 2023, Manasseh Ministry will be holding its annual. I'm forgetting my word. X Mad. X Mad is about no, and I God gave this to me. X Mad is about ex offenders coming on from prison, making a difference in the community. So we give out awards to formerly incarcerated. We give awards to people and persons who are doing good in the community, who are not formerly incarcerated, but are doing an outstanding job. I'm gonna say I don't want to say any names, but because I might give it up. But anyway, it's two people we're gonna really honor. One of the person we're gonna honor was powerful in the Mike Brown uh, uh, protesting, and in the Mike Brown in that Ferguson uprising, and how they strategically done some things and got some things done. But you don't hear much about him because he's not one of those persons to do that. But he's embraced the community which he lives in tremendously. So they find it's almost like he's their mayor. They'll come and ask him, "Hey, I need this for this. I need that for that," and he'll talk to us and other people, and he'll get it done. So, but we also give out scholarships to children who have parents incarcerated, who in grade school, grades of 3 to 8th grade. We don't know what the scholarships are going to be. We'll hope they'll be $500, and we're hoping that they'll be at least 20. It may not be, but that's our goal. That's where we're focused at, and we're hoping that it might be more, but that's where it is. Um, that's and it's on. I didn't know I was going to be asked this.
I
I
know.
forgot. It's
Yeah.
on Lindbergh, and if I had my phone with me, it's called the Infinity Occasion. I think that's it. Infinite Occasion. Is that it?
I'll look it
It's
up.
on Lindbergh and Page,
Okay.
right across the street from the old Northwest Plaza. That's the
Okay.
name of that George Spirit. It's called Infinity Occasion,
Okay.
and it's on Lindbergh 3506 3501. But they can also come to our Facebook page, and they'll see me, or they can always email me at AUDIMANASSEH at
Okay.
gmail.com, and we'll send them the information if they'd like to be a sponsor or if they'd
Okay.
like to get a table. We certainly would appreciate that. I have a job, uh, so the money does not affect or help Manasseh. We make sure that all the money goes to what we're trying to do, and at the end of the day, we give them a budget of what was collected and what was spent. And most people don't do that. We have to do that because we're formerly incarcerated and we don't want to give the enemy no space to say, oh, that's a fundraiser for him, not a fundraiser for me.
Gotcha.
My shoes cost too much money. I'm not bragging, they do. They just do.
So
But I give them.
how you spell it when you said it's X Man? EXMA?
Well, X Man is the event.
Uh,
It's X, yeah, it's in those, it's in those capital letters EXMAD, and
oh,
it's ex
X Man.
offenders.
Okay.
Yeah, X mad. When I was in the library with my children, it was during the summertime, so whenever they had breaks, I had to take care of them. While their mother was at, I'm working, but she had an 8-hour job, so they was always with me, and I would always tell them, if you do good, before I got aware of what McDonald's was about, I said, I'll get you some McDonald's. I stopped doing that. We got him some rallies. I mean, I think it was really rallies. I think I got him some rallies. But it was a treat for them. They knew if they did good, they didn't bother me. They went and got these books and they read, and I seen what they was reading. It was okay. And I explained to them, I don't have no car. I can't take you a lot of places. But, you know, getting on that bus was not a problem. So I don't know how I got there. But yeah, that's what X-Man is about.
Okay. So one more time, where can people find you if they want to donate, volunteer, contribute, anything? Where can they find you at?
Well, again, you can always email us at audimanasseh@gmail.com. The location of Manasseh Ministries headquarters is 4982 Bristol Rock Road, Black Jack, Missouri, 63033. It looks very much like a home. It is not a home. It is an office with living quarters upstairs. And I mean, excuse me, I think that's about all. That's the only place that they could do it. That is if they're going to send it, and we certainly would appreciate it. And we try to make sure that anything that we try to give tax letters out to persons who donate over a certain amount. So we make sure what they're giving, they get a tax credit for.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Richard Jackson, my last question I have for you that I like to ask all my guests. When it is all over and said and done and you are long gone from this earth, what is it that you want the people to know about Richard Jackson?
He cared for the people. He had a giving heart. He cared for the people.
I like that. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Richard Jackson. I'm gonna let
Thank you,
you know.
sir. Thank you, Lacey. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. I thank you for making time for me. So I'm gonna let you know as soon as we drop this article and interview also.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a
Much
good day.
love, man. Have a blessed one. Thank you so much. And tell Mr. Beck, thank you too. I
No
will
problem.
email it.
I
Thank you.
got you. No problem. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.